Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Pfizer says its COVID-19 vaccine is safe for 12 to 15-year-olds. The FDA agrees, extending the company's emergency use authorization to adolescents. Acting Commissioner Dr. Janet Woodcock.
This is a big step for our country. Vaccinating a younger population brings us closer to returning to a sense of normalcy and to ending the pandemic.
The CDC is expected to sign off on the EUA with vaccines available for 12 to 15-year-olds in a matter of days.
So would you or wouldn't you get your kids vaccinated? Why all the hesitancy? It's understandable. Right? Look, as an adult, right? So I'm an adult-ish. I'm adult-ish, but I'm an adult enough in age, and I make my own personal decisions that I, being of sound-ish mind, say, look, I'm 50. I took the vaccine. Whatever happens to me, I've made the choice. My son is going to be 11, but they're working on kids from 2 to 11 right now. Would I or wouldn't I? At this point, I'm going to say no. A lot of parents are doing that. Do I think that there's anything wrong with it? No, for me, it's more of, hey, the kids really don't get sick from this. And every once in a while, your immune system, like everything else, your body, you got to let it work a little bit. Well, that sounds really weird. Does it? Let it work a little bit. Let it get some of those antibodies. Let it build up some of that stuff. I know people say, I can't believe you'd let your kid get sick. You know, when I was a kid growing up, we used to send, hey, Jimmy down the street's got he's got the chicken pox. We're going to have a party over at Jimmy's house because he got the chicken pox, and everybody's going to go over and get the chicken pox so they can get it over and done with kind of thing. That was like a real thing. Now you've got a vaccine for the chicken pox because, then you find out later on you're going to get the chicken pox. Chances are you're going to get the shingles at some point in time. I never had the pox, by the way. I decided. My friend Raymond and everybody down the street, they had it. And they're like, hey, you want to stay the night, Raymond's like, no. Why would you guys do that to me? He's got the pox. I don't want to get the pox. I don't need to. Because the whole thought process is they could feel like they could time it. Everybody could kind of be at the same time, and everybody go back to school, then nobody else would get it. And it was a weird thing. I never got it. I didn't. Great. But we used to do that. We did. Now you've got the vaccine. I get my kids vaccinated. I do. I spaced it out rather than giving all at once. But I no hesitation. I didn't. This is a little bit different. I think sometimes we overdo things in the hopes to, and this is that thing we've talked about for a very long time on the show, how amazing our life is. And that's why when you hear something about like a mass shooting, we have this world where we live in a bubble that is so secure comparatively to many, many moons ago, comparatively even to the 80s and 90s, in the 70s, and the 60s. You flash forward 50, 60 years, and we're in this cocoon, in this bubble that, we can do so many different things. So shouldn't we have the opportunity to do this? Yes, I got zero problems with that. We also have this amazing thing called a body, and inside we have an immune system. It's okay to let it work every once in a great while.
I expect that the same kind of thing we're seeing now, where as people have friends and family members they know who've gotten vaccinated, the interest in vaccination goes up. I think the same will happen with parents as they see other kids, the children of other parents getting vaccinated. They're going to want to do it too.
Yeah, and Jack's mom and I have talked a bit about it, because it eventually will go to 2 to 11-year-olds. Although, according to the latest research, from 0 to 9, very little spread. Very little spread from each other or to adults. Is it okay to let your body work a little bit? Is it? I think so. I don't think anything wrong with that. Now, if this was one of those things where it was the opposite, parents really didn't get it, and kids get it, and they get deathly ill, potentially dying from it, I'd have zero problems with that. But they really don't. The funny thing is we talk about this, the flu kills more children than this thing does. But I can tell you this, a lot of kids don't get the flu shot. A lot of parents don't get the flu shot. Why is that? I don't know. It's just convenience. If we're there, I don't really think we need it. Those kind of things. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays itself out, because according to all the latest polls, when you look at certain things as far as how parents feel about getting vaccinated, and you find out that a majority of parents are okay getting vaccinated, they're much more hesitant when it comes to getting their kids vaccinated. And as far as younger kids, that to me,
I fully expect, given what we know about the vaccine in adults and now adolescents, that in the coming months, the vaccine will be approved for these young children, despite knowing that children who are between 2 and 12 do have different bodies that are developing at different rates.
And that's also the other thing. You know, I was telling one of the guys that, the guy that runs the place here, one of the guys that runs the place, where I am out here in Phoenix. And I said, you know, the way I look at it, it's kind of like football, right? Like, I don't think tackle football is bad for you, but I think there's a certain level you get to where you develop and you can get to a certain area where you're like, okay, it's okay now. I feel fine with you playing tackle. It's kind of the way I feel about this. Just me. Though every parent, just like every person, you do what's best for you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. How high will gas prices get? What exactly is this group, Dark Side? So if you're not paying any attention to this, I'm going to bring you guys up to speed. Dark Side is a hacking group out of the Eastern Bloc. And you'll be surprised to find out this, or maybe you won't.
The FBI is now officially identifying the hackers based in Russia known as DarkSide as a gang who developed the so-called ransomware used in the attack on the pipeline in a scheme to extort money. While U.S. intelligence has yet to develop evidence to tie the Kremlin to the attack, some security experts emphasize the Russian government has a pattern of allowing and sometimes helping such groups when they try to hurt Western companies and nations.
Of course they do. Duh. So what have they done? Well, they hammered into pipeline companies. So it's a ransomware. It's pretty simplistic, right? Somebody clicks on something they're not supposed to, looks real. What ends up happening? They get some way, shape, or form a backdoor into there, and they can start planting their little ransomware thing. So just think about this. They're going around planting little seeds of things throughout. Then they take over the entire system, and this group says, look, we don't want to cause any trouble. We don't want people to be pissed. We don't want to make anything tougher for people. We just want to make money. So give us X amount of dollars. Every year you hear more and more about this. You know, I talk about that. You know, the home title lock's been a sponsor of mine. That's one of those things these companies do, is they try to protect you from knowing. It's the same thing with this. Every year there's a hospital or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 that get taken over by companies, and what they want. Hey, we'd like $500,000 in, cryptocurrency. You're not going to be able to trace us. We don't want to take your files and give them to the world. We're going to release everything back to you. And companies more and more often, much like the shipping industry. So if you guys are unfamiliar how the shipping industry works, pirates are not those kinds. Somali pirates, things of that nature. You got the Aden Peninsula and all that stuff over there. And what ends up happening is these companies realize it's the cost of doing business. It's the same thing if you're in places like South America and certain parts of Southeast Asia, and you're a big, if you will, even in Mexico, you're a big industrialist titan. You've got security, but you've also got insurance. Because at some point in time, there may be a situation where you get kidnapped or somebody takes over your boat. What ends up happening? They say, look, we don't want to do anything to these people. You want your stuff. Give us some money. These companies send money quietly. They release the stuff because to them it's just a business. It's the cost of doing business. Unfortunately, a little different. We're not used to something like this. You're coming into something here in America or in Europe or somewhere else, and you're taking something over. And more often than not, it's the cost of doing business. And when you talk to people who are cyber experts, they'll tell these places, just pay them the money and tell them to go away. That's it. Protect your back door. Figure it out. Here, where I am, we had it last year. Somebody clicked on something they weren't supposed to, and that was it. And we've got about 20 stations nationwide. Everything was taken over. And they spent days and weeks and months trying to fix it when sometimes it's just better, unfortunately, to say this, to just hand them the money. It's like court. One of my good friends, she works for one of the biggest law firms in the country. She works for a law firm that is so massive. Like, you ever watch Suits? It's like 10 times that size. And they handle counties, states, companies like Walmart and the Bezoses of the world, the whole 9 yards. The cost of doing business. So-and-so suing you for $50,000. You know what she says? Give them the money. But that's not right. Well, do you want to spend $300,000 defending it to stop $50,000? That's just silly. And unfortunately, $3 million versus the amount of pressure, annoyance, and cost of business for people across the country, in particular in the East Coast areas, it's just not worth it. It's just not. That's what North Korea, Russia, and a lot of these other countries that essentially have zero opportunity for real trade anymore, they're about doing this. It's a way for them to make money. Countries know about it. They bring money in. You don't think, first of all, who runs your country? The dark side, a mobster. You don't think he's taking his little vig right there? You don't think he's getting a little bit of something? Of course he is. Iran, they do stuff like this. Guess what? North Korea lives off this. For a country that has no internet capabilities, they're sure able to hack and do a lot of things. This is, unfortunately, new business world. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from you. We're going to talk about jobs in a second. Biden came out and said something yesterday that, quite frankly, you would think he wouldn't have to say, but he's going to say because, well, as much as the Republicans at times just talk and talk, just like the Democrats do, and all of it's a bunch of crap, the Republicans got something right. They did. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Omaha Steaks, delicious. Last night I had pork chops, barbecued some pork chops. I'm done. I was telling somebody I don't have anything left for my Omaha Steaks. I've eaten almost everything. I think I have kielbasa. That's the only thing I think I have left is the kielbasa. But it is incredible. So, if you've never had Omaha Steaks, if you've never had like something delivered to you that is amazing meat-wise, you are missing out. And summer is here, and it's time for you to look up and go, all right, what are we going to do? How are we going to make this thing work? Well, Omaha Steaks delivers it straight to you, and you get fillets. Oh, delicious. You get their burgers, which are, honest to goodness, out of this world. You get the kielbasa, the pork chops, the chicken breast, all of this stuff. It is incredible. Now is your chance to take advantage of this. It's called the Let's Go Grill Package. On top of that, they're going to give you $20 off your first order and throw in almost 4 pounds of free burgers. 12 ultra juicy Omaha steak burgers. Now, I have a few of those left, but those are my Friday and Saturday when I sit down and watch a movie thing, and I love that. And the first time I cooked too many of them. Because I thought they were going to shrink up. You know, they start out the size of like, dinner plate, many of these things, and they shrink up in the size of a quarter. Not these. The best food, the best taste. It's Omaha Steaks. Right now, save $20 off your first checkout, plus get all this tasty, amazing food and 12 free Omaha Steaks. That's a $44 value on top of that. All you have to do is go to omahasteaks.com, omahasteaks.com. Keyword is Chad. Just type it right in there, the keyword. I pop up, you start saving. omahasteaks.com, keyword Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Helen Keller is a Nazi terrorist that is a male. Is that what you're telling me right now?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Hitler?
Who's Hitler?
Vaccines work, but only the Chad Benson Show is 100% effective against stupidity.
Do you know what D-Day is?
What?
D-Day.
A person? A rapper?
God, Karen, you are so stupid.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and wherever you find your favorite woke-free podcasts. This is the Chad Benson Show.
A lot of stations are running out of gas, not by much, a few hours here and there.
Fueling up in 2021 costs about 77 cents more per gallon than it did last year.
All of these people were shut down in their homes. They want to get out.
Get this, some stations around the country have already had brief periods where they run out of gas for a few hours. And the reason is simple.
There's no shortage of gas. It's just that during the pandemic, there was a shortage of drivers.
Yeah, and we've talked about that. Now you've got what's going on the East Coast with the dark side taking over the pipeline fuel that runs essentially from Texas all the way through parts of the South up until the northeastern part of the country. Producer Anthony was saying his brother said that people are panicking. Everybody just needs to relax, right? Relax. We've got enough, at least for right now. Our strategic side of things, we have more than enough. This will come online here from the west side of the country, right? So from Texas, if you will, if you're looking from Texas straight on to the left, right? The southwest all the way through, we don't get our fuel side of it from there. So we don't have anything to worry about. There's not going to be this, but people are going to start freaking out because that's what people do.
It's the line for gas all the way around the building.
It's the QT gas station on Celanese around 9:30 at night. They are out of gas. Everybody sitting here is not getting gas. Everything except diesel is out. What they just told me.
People are kind of waiting their turn. But when we run out of gas, it's a pretty big deal down here.
Yeah. You know who I think did this? Elon Musk. That's another one of his brilliant moves. But I remember growing up, and Producer Phil, I remember, I'm sure you remember this, in the 70s, and Carter, and, okay, it's a Tuesday, and ours ends in an even number, so we can get gas today. It's not going to be that. It's not. It is not going to be that. We'll be absolutely fine. But this will cause delays, and because people panic. And why do people panic? I don't know. You tell me why everybody bought toilet paper last year like we were never going to have toilet paper again. Because there was a pandemic that didn't do anything to your system that would cause you to buy that much toilet paper. Because when some things start to happen that virally it goes and spreads, and in your mind you come up with these weird things. It's crazy. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Skylar Reeves owns 5 restaurants throughout Prescott, Arizona. Why? Why are you having such a hard time finding workers for your restaurants?
There's 2 main reasons. The number one reason is the enhanced unemployment benefits. So I've had several people come to me and basically say, look, when I can't get unemployment anymore, we'll come back.
What? No, that's a lie. You are lying, sir. You are a liar. A liar. A liar. Jim Clyburn.
There's this notion that people don't want to work. I have not met any of those people who don't want to work. I have met a lot of people who are staying off from work because they cannot find child care for their children. And you've got the Republican Party not wanting to make that a part of infrastructure. That is a critical part of infrastructure.
So let's see here. Is that true? Look, if you don't want to work now, you've had the opportunity to get the vaccine. Maybe you've even had this. If your whole thought process, which is the other side of it, it's not just childcare, it's fear.
The number one reason now that people aren't going back to work, fear, or they can't find childcare or schools are still closed.
Oh, schools aren't closed most places, right? But they're getting ready to because, it's been a long year. The whole thing about, oh my God, summer school potentially. But no, the fear thing's a bunch of crap, right? If you've got the vaccine, are you really scared? Honestly, are you really scared? If you don't have the vaccine and you don't want to get the vaccine, you think this thing's a joke or you've already had it, you just don't care and you're not bothered by it. So that fear thing is a bunch of crap. Maybe some people fear work. Oh God, me go back to work? Oh, I don't think so. No. That's a bunch of crap. There are a few people out there that I will admit are terrified still to get this. Okay, that's understandable. That's a small few. Childcare could be an issue, but for the most part, right, everything's good to go. We got most places that have reopened in some way, shape, or form. Okay? So then because that owner of a business, Skylar there, he said people are coming to him. He's the business owner, not you, Jim Clyburn, right? Not you, Mrs. Jen Psaki or Gina Raimondo. I don't know if I said that right. Don't get mad at me. No, not you. Not you. You're not the business owner. In fact, it got to the point where even Biden said,
we're going to make it clear that anyone collecting unemployment who is offered a suitable job must take the job or lose their unemployment benefits.
How dare you do that? That's my money for free. How dare you? My goodness. Why would you want to? Here's another crazy thing, right? Here's a little crazy something. Gavin Newsom, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. He's talking, about there's a recall going on. He's now telling everybody, hey, don't worry. I'm going to get you more money. I'm getting you more cash. I'm getting you more stimulus money. Why would you want to go back to work in certain places? So you heard the owner of a restaurant, Skylar Reeves, 5 restaurants, Prescott, Arizona. Beautiful. In fact, I'm talking to Skylar later on today. Right? Trying to figure out how do I get people to come back who tell him, look him in the face and, hey, dude, I'm here just to apply for this because I got my benefits and I'm making more. And if these things run out, I'm going to come back. Right there, you're a no-go for me.
It's a tough job. These are entry-level jobs. And so when you kind of feel like we're competing with that unemployment rate a little bit, so I think that's the number one cause in my experience. We've also had talks with employees saying, look, I want to come back to work, but can you guarantee me that I'm going to make more than I would on unemployment? For a tipped person, you can't necessarily guarantee what kind of tips they are. You can make a good guess.
You can make a good guess, right? So he's coming up. Here's a guy, business owner, this is his experience. Maybe not for everybody else, but this is his experience. And most business owners, small and medium size, are kind of saying the same thing. But of course, they're liars because they've got, they need slave labor, according to many people out there, which is a bunch of crap. So he's trying to come up with a unique way to get people to come in and work, right? Because being paid isn't enough. Having some pride in something isn't enough. Learning something isn't enough. So what else?
We want to be a great company to work for. We want to be a company that people seek us out to come work for us. And so we want to reinvest in our workforce. So college tuition is one way that we can do that. We were kind of racking our brains. How can we get more people to apply? How can we get more people to come on in? And so I partnered up with Young Life College, a local community college here, to where full-time employees that work 32 hours, an average of 32 hours a week, and are benefit eligible. So about after 90 days, I or the company will pay their tuition as they go throughout the community college.
Yeah. And by the way, community college, which I had no idea, and producer Phil and you and I talked about this, I didn't know it was that expensive anymore. I thought it was like 13th grade. It's like a buck a unit. Yeah, you don't need a book. No, it's going to cost him a pretty penny for that. But he's offering that. He's incentivizing people. And we're getting that more and more. So that's what some people want. Yeah, you know what? I'm not worried about that, especially a younger generation. They're looking for something different.
We'll attract some ambitious people. We want to reinvest into our workers. The wages are going up already. I want to, if someone comes to work for us for 2 years while they go to college and they walk away from the company with a college degree or moving on to a 4-year university. I'm in this business to make money, but I'm also in this business to affect people in a positive way, not just our guests, but our employees as well. Give the person an extra few dollars. I think the incentives needs to be more.
Yeah. And that's happening across many different industries. But now it's not even to the point where it's like, okay, I'm competing with you across the street to get a good employee. Now it's like we're competing with the government to get anybody to even come and work in some areas. That's just nuts. It is. I could see if Hey, guys across the street are offering me, 4-day work week at the office. I can work at home one of those days as far as like a half day. And then I get, every other Friday off or what, so I'm like, what do you guys offer me? Well, we're going to offer you the same, but we're also going to give you 4 weeks vacation. They're only offering you 2. Those are some of the things that people are looking, that used to be the battle that was happening before the pandemic. Now it's like, all right, I'll pay for your college and I'll give you my restaurant. It's like, will you come work for me? This is the ridiculousness of what they're fighting. And why would you want to? And look, I've had a lot of discussions, being a business owner. So Michael and I have a company. We've got several people that work for us, but we're a gig economy, right? So we're always looking for essentially hired assassins. We need something here, we need something there, and we've got a core group that works for us. The reality is there's a lot of people that feel comfortable with that. They want to work from home. They want to work in the gig economy world. There's a lot of people out there who, if I'm 24 and I don't have to work, right, at this moment in time, I could go through some of the motions, use the pandemic as a bit of I'm terrified to work or I just wouldn't make enough. At that point in time, I get it. You're making a business decision. I think in the long run, it's going to hurt you more. But I probably would do the same. The difference is I was hustle on the side. It's always been a hustler. But that's where we are right now. And that's what's costing restaurants, especially the hospitality industry, and a lot of other places. And the other thing is, too, you've also got a younger generation that what? They don't want to start at the bottom. They'd like to start at upper management level. I don't want to be the dishwasher that becomes, the fry cook that becomes the sous chef that becomes the chef. I'd like to just start at the chef position. Can you cook? I cannot. But I deserve this. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Now the question is will anybody, even if Biden says you guys are trying to game the system, you guys are turning down jobs and we're going to cut you off, how would you know?
President Biden made it clear that anyone collecting unemployment who is offered a suitable job must take the job or lose their unemployment benefits.
Business owners are required to tell state labor departments if someone turns down the job, and that would cut off their unemployment. In reality, most businesses don't do that, and there doesn't appear to be any penalty if they don't.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it sounds like you're going to really do something, but if I'm a business owner and I've offered people jobs and they've turned me down and they've said stuff to me like, hey, when when my unemployment runs out, I'm on it. I am absolutely telling them. I offered them a job. They said no. But where's the cutoff line? That's the other thing. I think it was $32,000 or something like that in certain states. So it's and who's going to enforce that? Who's really going to do it? Do you think the government's really going to take away your money? I'd like to see that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Again, if you're aged 12 to 15, you're now eligible to get the vaccine. Will that happen? I don't know. A lot of people are now, remember how this narrative changed. We were just talking about this. So 2 weeks to flattening the curve has now become 16 months to everybody gets vaccinated. Then when the vaccine happened, it's like, all right, once the adults get vaccinated, we're good to go. Now we're continuing on this path. Now let's get everybody vaccinated because this is absolutely how we get back.
As we look forward to our kids being able to return to team sports and sleepovers, I think parents need to know that getting their children vaccinated is the fastest way to allow our children to go back to being kids.
No, just allowing kids to be kids at some point in time is the fastest way to do it. I just don't think that this, is the fastest way. My son, my son's mother, she has finally gotten to the point over the last 2 months where she's like, screw it, I don't care anymore. He's not going to die from this. No, but we're not going to get sick and die from this. He's already had everything. These kids need to be back. The mental health side of him destroyed him in a very real way for several weeks. And it was finally like, it wasn't even throwing caution to the wind. It was just looking and going, all right, the data says that the chances of them, anybody getting this and really dying from it at that age, being healthy as he is slim to none. And same thing with his friends. So we're just going to let them live their lives. That's the fastest way back. The opportunity to get them vaccinated now is presenting itself. But what if it had presented itself by now? I'm just curious. What if they said, look, under the age of 18 probably isn't good because this thing is good for adults, young adults and stuff. What then? Would we be just on this path of just puttering around? And I can't wait for around the corner there could be something else that's evil world that the CDC is living in, this bizarre world. Just sorry, I'm over that. It's time to get ourselves back out there. That includes children. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Raycons, best earbuds around. Love my Raycons. I got a few different colors, right? They come in different colors. And I take them everywhere I go. Whether I am, I did some video editing yesterday. It was great. Had them on. And the weird thing is, I'll have them on, like the new gel tip and stuff, and I'll be sitting there and I'll be doing my stuff, and I'll be listening to a book or something, and the book will come to an end, and I'll just leave them in. I don't really feel them. That noise isolating fit's amazing, and sometimes that peace and quiet is delicious. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing. They've got different models and designs. They got prices that start as low, well under $100. If you're looking for something with no stems, no wires, you're not looking for stuff that is just cheap that you would buy and you're like, what is this? No, I'm talking about Ray J put together something that is such quality that I will put them up against anything that costs 3, 4, 5 times as much in some cases, and you will not be disappointed. They come with a 45-day happiness guarantee, which is pretty awesome. You're not happy with them? Send them back. Get your Raycons now. Save big, an extra 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Simple and easy. Save an extra 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Grab yours now. And these everyday earbuds, to the performer, to the athlete, to you name it, they've got it. You will love each and every single one of these. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
Director Joss Whedon apparently took on Wonder Woman when he was called in to finish the Justice League movie in 2017. Actress Gal Gadot tells the Israeli outlet N12 that there was some kind of disagreement between Gadot and Whedon during filming, and she says he threatened her career and said if she did something, he would make her career miserable. So she says she just took care of the issue herself. Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in the movie, originally accused Whedon of being abusive, and since then, several actors from Whedon projects, including Buffy the Vampire Slayer, have come forward with similar accusations Whedon disputes.
So here's a question, right? Is he abusive, Joss Whedon? Because she got upset, too. Because apparently she said, he doesn't respect Wonder Woman. Which to me, I couldn't stop laughing. What do you mean he couldn't? I don't respect Wonder Woman. She's not real. It's a character. You guys get that, right? So, yeah. Is he a Richard? Probably. Is he a hard ass? Absolutely. You find a lot of those people, that are get things done kind of people, that's kind of what they do. And we live in a world now where if people are pushed, they feel like they're being attacked by people. I've worked for some of the worst people in the world. One of them I talked about before, Robert W. Morgan, one of the great radio personalities of all time. He's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, name on the Walk of Fame. He's the kind of guy where, when the Beatles came to town in the 60s, they stayed at his house. They didn't stay in a hotel. He was that kind of guy. He's the king he was a boss jock. Is he a boss jock? He raised Don Imus. I mean, this guy, he was the worst person ever. Awful. He was awful. He taught me a lot, right? He did. He taught me a lot. And he was a hard ass. Some people are. Some people are. But I also think nowadays some people are not used to being pushed. Right? They're not used to being pushed. They're not used to being talked to in a way. I've never been talked to like that. Okay. Maybe. I don't know. It's just kind of funny. And I just love the fact that she starts talking about, he didn't respect Wonder Woman. You're like, oh, my goodness me. Just get over yourself. Just get over yourself. It's amazing. I don't know how some of these people do it. I have worked with a ton of people. And, yeah, are some people tough to work with? But that's life, right? Isn't that kind of life? I think it's easy. Like, look at like a sports is a perfect example. Is a perfect example of you go and you look at sports, and what do you have? You have coaches, some of them that are, well, essentially ball busters, right? They're in your face. And I've played for coaches like that. And while they'll shape you up at times and they'll get you to do stuff, eventually they have to move on because it wears thin with the players. But you got a certain job done. Nowadays, it's changed. You don't have much of that. It's about relationships, and it's about certain things, and the players have all these powers. And I guess that's what it is anymore. And there's nothing wrong, but I just still think there are people out there. I just think sometimes we think being mean and being tough are the exact same, and they're not. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Are you worried about people dropping their guard too soon when it comes to wearing masks?
No, I think it is the right thing to do because this has been the problem all along. The American people have not really had a roadmap to follow. They keep hearing these kind of one-off guidelines from the CDC that are not contextualized in a larger framework and a roadmap of where we're actually heading to as a country. And so it confuses people, and this is why you see a number of physicians and others criticizing the CDC because they don't understand why the CDC's being so conservative.
Dr. Pete Hoots. He's a scientist, pediatrician, global health vaccinology. Yeah. So he's just saying, I think what a lot of people at this point are thinking, it's like, first of all, you're all over the place, CDC. That doesn't bode well for you, right? It doesn't strike confidence in the heart of Americans. And when it comes to the mask thing, some of this stuff, it's like, it feels like you're adding more onto it as things get better. It's almost like you don't want things to get better. Well, we've talked about it. What is going to be the hardest thing for really, I mean, if you're Dr. Fauci, first of all, can I just say this? Very few people don't have egos. Everybody's got some sort of ego. Some are bigger than others. Some need that to survive, but everybody's got some sort of ego. But being a politician or somebody who has a microphone in front of their face almost 24/7 daily, hanging on so much of what you're saying is addictive. You know, Ed Koch is the former mayor of New York. And for those of you guys who don't know, he's long since passed. I think he passed several years ago. But there's a great documentary about the fact that essentially if the day he dies, there won't be a microphone in his face. There's a certain importance about that, right? That's hard to say that that's not a big deal. And that's why we've said since this, the hardest thing for so many people to do is to give back some of that power, to give back some of that control, to give back to people some peace of mind and allow them to kind of do their own thing. That's going to be tough.
The message needs to be that as we fully vaccinate the American people by the summer, virus transmission is going to go way down. And that's why it becomes easier to have vaccinated individuals no longer wear masks because the vaccines are not 100% protective. But as virus transmission goes down, then we open up and look like something as we did pre-pandemic, with the exception that international travel will still be treacherous because there's a lot of virus transmission.
Yeah. You know, India's a hot mess. Now they have black fungus. I don't even know what that is. I don't even. Oh, sorry, you just got some dirt on you. But that's what they've got going on over there. I mean, so international travel is going to be a little bit different. People are going to do like here in America. They're going to go to places they feel comfortable. Right, it's our side of the world. They're going to go to Mexico, right? They may go to, they're going to obviously go to the Caribbean or Caribbean, depending on how you want to phrase it. Europe is probably still a ways away for some people. They're going to go to places that they feel like I can head to. Not so much when it comes to certain parts of Europe. Why? Well, you know what? If you're in the Caribbean, chances are you cruise there, you're going to be able to get back on the boat and come back. Getting stuck somewhere in Europe, probably not something you're going to want to do. So travel will be a little bit different. But there's still going to be lots of travel. So much of these weird guidelines, first of all, we have 50 states doing 50 different things. We can all recognize that's the beauty of our republic, right? We run our own things, from our elections to the way that we've handled some of this. In saying that, some states are going to have months where they're going to have some sketchy issues, right? We've seen that with Michigan and a few other places. Other states, like Texas, like Fauci still can't figure out why Texas is living their lives and not a lot's happening. Giving back the power, not being the go-to for everything 24/7, whether it's your local municipality, your mayors, right, your council people, to your governors and your health officials, all the way up to the top. It's going to be tough for a lot of people to do. It's time to get back doing things. You can do it in a smart, responsible way without saying, hey, you know what, we're not even going to take a step forward. We're just going to move we're going to just slide our foot forward about a half an inch, and then we're going to wait. No, it's time to take that foot and then put the other foot out there and then make it continually move forward.
So the flaw in the CDC communication has been not sort of showing the step-by-step roadmap of how we're opening the country.
Yeah. Because they don't have one. Because your step-by-step roadmap doesn't work. And the reason's pretty simple. Do you guys remember when last year they came out and they said, all right, well, here's our tiers of stuff. You know, when you have X amount of days where you've had a declining rate of infections and hospitalizations, and they started doing stuff, then you can go from tier 4 to tier 3 or whatever it was. Every state's like, that's great. And then what do they do? Every state did the same thing. I mean, we opened up within an hour here in Arizona, where even when it got good in certain places, they're like, no, we're still going to just slow our roll. You know what's best for you. I think we need to start taking back some more of that personal responsibility and moving forward. And the CDC, I think, has lost a lot of its go-to based on the fact that it has gone from point A to point B, from point B to C, from C to F, back to A, to even contradicting themselves within hours. And you're just like, eh. And then when they put stuff out like, hey, if your kid's going to go to camp, make sure it wears 3 masks a day. Okay? And if they're wearing 3, and that's 24/7. And if they're outside with a vaccinated person, have them stand 28 feet apart. Again, that's not camp. That's punishment. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Gas shortage. Everybody, relax. I know if you're on the East Coast or the southeast part of the country, you're starting to panic. Breathe.
The White House says it's now monitoring supply shortages in parts of the Southeast and is evaluating every action the administration can take to mitigate the impact as much as possible. Overnight, North Carolina declaring a state of emergency as pumps run dry and officials urge drivers not to panic buy.
That's what got us to the point where we had no more toilet paper. So you have the dark side group, which is this Russian Eastern European hacking group that has essentially got into one of our big pipeline distributors. They have taken it over with ransomware. And now what? Well, I mean, they're going to try to do what they can to get money, because that's what, to them, this is all about.
The FBI is now officially identifying the hackers based in Russia known as DarkSide as a gang who developed a so-called ransomware using the attack on the pipeline in a scheme to extort money. While U.S. intelligence has yet to develop evidence to tie the Kremlin to the attack, some security experts emphasize the Russian government has a pattern of allowing and sometimes helping such groups when they try to hurt Western companies and nations.
Yeah, so it's It's unfortunate, but in this day and age, kind of the cost of doing business. The more that technology has helped us, it's also not to. I mean, look, technology. Let's first and foremost, it is any of the stuff that's happened that's crazy, like these kind of things. The blessings of technology now it's grown far outstrips any of that stuff. But this is a pain in the ass. So it's a ransomware. Somebody opened up something they weren't supposed to, and along the way, this thing goes inside there and starts planting seeds. Now they take everything. They basically, if you ever given your, like you'll do something with somebody, right? And they'll say, hey, let me take control of your computer screen. Well, imagine that for your entire company. And all they're saying is, pay us money. Well, Chad, they're even saying, look, we don't hurt anybody. We want to make anybody, we don't want to destroy anybody's lives or anything. We just want money. Which is basically, that's, who doesn't want that, right? At some point, though, you say, okay, what's going on outside? Well, we have panic buying. We've got gas prices going up, obviously. Even the airlines being somewhat disrupted.
The impact now also hitting the skies. Certain long-haul American Airlines flights will make stops to refuel. Announcing trips from Charlotte to London and Hawaii will have to divert to areas with more supply.
Yeah. So at some point in time, you say it's just worth giving them this based on the fact that we've got a situation here where it's going to end up costing us far more money to try to fight these guys. So I think that's what's going to happen. But the damage has been done in the sense that it's caused a little bit of chaos, which is now causing more chaos. And you're going to see prices go up in certain parts of the country. Just relax. This will be a blip, just kind of like you remember what happened in the winter? Right? It's like, oh my God, Texas and everything froze for like 12 days. And we'll get past this. This is the thing. And this, unfortunately, is now the cost of doing business. Those giant freighters that go from across the globe and they go through, right, They go Cape Horn, and all of a sudden they're Aden Sea and all what happens? Somali pirates and all kinds of pirates come and they board. They take those things hostage. What ends up happening? They pay them off. It's the cost of doing business. That's it. They don't want to kill anybody because it's bad business. Businessmen around the world know that there are certain situations where people will get kidnapped, and that's why they have protection. And sometimes they end up getting kidnapped. They don't kill those people. Why? It's the cost of doing business. They want money. They don't want to kill somebody. To them, this is a job. To everybody else, it's your livelihood. Your day-to-day, seeing your family, going to work. And it sucks. It does. But they're always one step ahead because they're going to find a new way that you didn't think of. And also, you're going to have somebody who's going to answer something. Telling you, if I was to do this, people say, how would you get into this? We were joking about this last night, man. I'd send an Evite to everybody in the company. And the reason is simple. Because there's one person in the company that doesn't get invited to things, and they will be the one that opens something. Oh, my God, they want to be my friends? Like, remember that? Was it Office Space? With my stapler? That guy, he'll open it. He's the back door. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. You guys hear me talk about it all the time. Let me tell you something. My dog Doodle, who I just love, right? He is long in the tooth. He had bad joints, arthritic hips. You guys hear me talk about him all the time. But it's so funny how he has changed in the last year, right? So what is Rough Greens? It's a supplement. It's got digestive enzymes, omega-3, 6, 9, antioxidants, probiotics, vitamins, minerals, vegetables, all of these amazing things. It's made in the USA, right? At an FDA-registered facility. It's easy to use. You just spread it on your dog's food. Just sprinkle it right on there, and away they go. My dog, in the last year and a half, runs around like a puppy. He's never done that before since we've had him. We adopted him when he was a little bit older. And to see the transformation in him and how happy our dogs are, not only eating it, but just how healthy they are, and to see how healthy their coats are, is incredible. Get your Rough Greens now. It's a free trial. You're not even going to pay for it. They want you to pay for shipping. Right? So you go and you pay for the shipping. They're going to send you a bag for free. So you get this bag for free, and you try it. If you don't like it, well, there's no harm, no foul. But I have a feeling you're going to not just like it, you're going to love it. Try it now. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad. 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 Put it to the test. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Let's take a peek, find out what's trending. The last 24 hours, what's been big, what's moving right now, what's the hot, what's the haps, what's the cool. Let's start with the Twitter. Twitter, baby, Twitter. Let's take a look at that. Jimmy Carter 2.0 is trending. Why is that trending? Something that's trending. Because of, the whole thought of increased unemployment, inflation, things of that nature. And of course, now potentially having to wait in line to get petrol or gas. The horse, I call it, is it Medina? I call it Lance Armstrong and the horse. People are still waiting to see. Is it going to be a situation where they strip the horse, or AKA Lance Armstrong the horse, of the Kentucky Derby? Preakness this weekend, it will race. On top of that, it's going to race in the Belmont, but right now his trainer, Bob Baffert, is not going to be there. Very interesting story in Bloomberg. People are returning their pets they adopted during COVID lockdown. They're like, we tried it. It just didn't go with the furniture, so we'd like to bring it back. I just want you guys to understand that that's what happened. So just please take this. Head on over to Google. Gas shortage. Number one thing, over 1 million plus searches. Ben Affleck, Bennifer, is back. Apparently, they've been seen going on a vacation together. Yeah, the Bennifer is back. Israel, lots of searches. I don't know if you guys are watching, but there's stuff going on over there. It's becoming uncomfortable again in the Middle East. But at least that guy does those really bad tweets, isn't in office. It's not very nice. Can't believe you said that. I did. Hollywood Foreign Press is outlining changes after NBC says they're not going to air the Golden Globes. On top of that, and we'll touch on this in a bit, Tom Cruise gave back his 3 Golden Globes. You know what's most surprising about that? Tom Cruise had 3 Golden Globes. I'm more shocked about that than Nicolas Cage winning an Academy Award. And Kenny Mayne, if you guys don't know who Kenny Mayne is, sportscaster, been on ESPN for almost 30 years, says he's leaving, and it's kind of an emotional thing. He's been there that long, 30 years. Apparently, though, he's saying essentially salary cap casualty. Translation, I cost too much money, and they're letting me go. And how long has he been there? I think there's only one other person in the entire place, and it's a giant facility and group that work with ESPN that's been there longer than him. That's a long time in this day and age. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Immigration.
California's labor force includes 1.75 million undocumented immigrants. Should they have a path to citizenship?
I would hope so. I am for legal immigration. Okay. What's been happening on the border was honestly one of the reasons I decided to run for governor. Watching people dying come across the river, kids in cages, whatever you want to call them.
They should have a chance at citizenship?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, they should.
That's Caitlyn Jenner talking about her run for governor, potentially. Now, again, she and everybody else who wants to run for governor won't have a chance if the recall that happens with Gavin Newsom doesn't happen, where they said, you know what, we're going to keep this guy who now is offering double in stimulus checks. He's like, he's the kid that's running for class president, and he's, was hanging out with the adults too much and got everything kind of screwed up and wacky, and then people were turning on him. Now he's like, everybody gets free popsicles and no school afternoon and no homework. That's what I feel like he's trying to do right now. So you've got other people that throw on their hat or fedora or person in the ring. And in doing so, their hope is that they say, no, we don't want you, and they'll have a chance to run for governor. Now, even if it's not recalled, there's still a chance that, all these people may go, hey, we're going to run against you in the next one, and Caitlyn may be there. Do I agree with the pathway to citizenship for undocumented dreamers? Yeah, I think this is a stupid thing that we're talking about. At this point, many of them know no other country but this is their home. We have educated them, right? We have. They've grown up here to the point where they want to be a part of society and give back, and they should, because for all intents and purposes, this is their country. Politics got in the way. We should never have gotten to this point, but we did. So now what do? Let's be smart about it. And with the birth rates declining, come on. Immigration is going to be a huge topic. Legal immigration, how they open it up in the coming years.
Personally, I have met some of the most wonderful people who are immigrants who have come to this country, and they are just model citizens. They are just great people, and I would fight for them to be, U.S. citizens. I think would be the greatest day of their life. Yeah.
I remember my grandfather got his citizenship. It was a party. It was just awesome. He was over the moon. Did everything, correct. It was easier but harder back then. Right? There wasn't the opportunities to go online and search and stuff, and the way they had to do it was a little bit different, but it was easier in some ways. But it was harder. It took him a long time, by the way. He was here. He was married to my grandmother for years. He owned businesses. He owned homes. He was, by all accounts, a model citizen, but it didn't come over, okay, well, you're married to somebody, you've been here for a little while here. No, it took a long time for him to do that. And we all went down there for the swearing in, to get the flag, the whole 9 yards. Go to one of those things, and you want to see what America's about? That's what America's about. You go to one of those things, you're like, those people right there believe in the American dream when many people don't. Now, this is when the interview gets really weird. Surreal moment, to say the least. Caitlyn Jenner. Producer Phil, I just want you to. Caitlyn Jenner won a gold medal, but not really. But Caitlyn Jenner does carry around somebody's gold medal with them.
Actually, a little trivia here. Back 15 years ago, they would have, when the signing in of the immigrants, they would show a video of America. And it would end with me, a picture at the finish line with the American flag up there.
That image when Jenner won the gold.
That is an Olympic gold medal. You can take it out. And it's been in that box ever since. I very rarely ever take it out.
Should I take it out?
Yeah, sure.
Don't take anything else out either. It's funny, though, that's like, wait, who won the gold medal? Well, I did. Who was I? Me. But who are you? I'm Caitlyn. So Caitlyn won the gold medal? I won the gold medal. But who are you? I'm Caitlyn. So you won a gold medal. In the men's decathlon? Well, yeah. But the whole thought process of carrying around your medal is very weird, too. Because when you talk to people who've won medals, a lot of times, some people, they're like, if you win a gold medal in rowing, right? You win a gold medal in rowing. You just like, that's probably on your wall somewhere along with everything. You talk to other people, it's like, I don't know where it is. I think it's in the sock drawer. But apparently, Caitlin carries hers around just in case there's an impromptu. Could you imagine going to one of those things and at the end of it, it's pictures of old Bruce Jenner winning the decathlon, carrying around the flag, and you're like, one day you too can become a woman. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Chad, that is not very nice. You're not woke. I know I'm not woke. But don't tell me you weren't laughing. And just because you're laughing, right, and then you feel bad about laughing, because I get that too. Like, I can't believe I laughed at that. You can. You just don't want everybody to know you did, because then you're going to be like, oh, I feel so horrible. Oh, my Lord. So, the Kentucky Derby. Bob Baffert is the trainer of many of the greats, by the way. Like, Bob Baffert's one of those things. Like, when you go look at college basketball, right? Like, there's certain, there's certain guys you're like, okay, there's Mike Krzyzewski, right? Like, that's the guy, right? Before Bobby Knight, before he was, became the pariah that he ended up becoming. So many of these guys, you're like, those. Bob Baffert's that for horse racing. And Medina Spirit won, but then there was an issue. So the issue simply is tested positive for something, a picogram, which apparently is not a lot, of something inside of its system after the race, and in doing so, there is now more investigations going on, and they may strip the Derby crown and the $1.8 million purse that came with it. But more importantly, in doing that, you're also going to strip the future earnings, which the $1.8 million, it means very little, right? It's the future studying that could mean a lot. So why? Well, he says it's cancel culture. That's his new thing. But he's been out talking about it.
That horse has never been treated with that. Actually, it's a legal therapeutic medicine, and the amount that was in it wouldn't have any effect on the horse anyway, but that horse was never treated with that, and so that's the disturbing part of it. But I cannot believe, I never thought I'd have to be fighting for my reputation and this poor horse's reputation. Because of the new regulations, the regulators have they're testing these horses at contaminated levels, and it's been a horrible experience.
Yeah. Look, his horses in the past with at least 30 medication violations over his 4-decade career, 5 of those were last year, though some were overturned on appeal. Apparently, this is very easy to get as far as, like, you can have, he says eating hay can be one of the things. He said licking a wall, right? But he says the horse is a victim of cancel culture. I don't think the horse knows. The horse didn't retweet something or say something. The horse is a horse. Of course, a horse. And no one can talk to a horse, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. But it's so weird. And by the way, if you lost or won when it comes to betting, that's it. Essentially, all bets are off. You keep what you keep, and that's it.
It did not happen, and that's the really seriously troubling part of it. And I'm hiring investigators, but sometimes you never find out, and it's just a tragedy what's happening in this race.
I'm going to tell you why it's not. You guys ready? Everybody gathered around? So people are talking about horse racing and a cheating horse. That's why. People only talk about horse racing now if there's a chance for somebody to go to the Triple Crown. That's pretty much it. Because if Medina Spirit is, let's say he loses the next race, they find him, not guilty of anything. It was a false positive, but he loses the next one. Nobody cares about the Belmont. Horse race people do, but the reality is it's a Saturday afternoon at, ABC's Wide World of Sports. Nobody's going to watch it. If there's a Triple Crown opportunity, people might pay attention, but they really paid attention when there wasn't one for like 27 years. People don't pay attention. This caused controversy. Controversy caused people to pay more attention. Oh, I didn't watch the race, but I know the horse cheat. Lance Armstrong? Is that Jose Canseco? What's this horse all about? People were talking about it in the office yesterday. Hey, Chad, what's your opinion on this? I'm like, you're a 25-year-old reporter who doesn't even really like sports. And these young girls are asking me about this because they find it interesting. It's actually, I think, done stuff for the sport. They were like, ooh. Because last time we talked about horse racing was when they were all dying on the track. So I think it actually is giving a little boost. People might turn in to watch, go, hey, I want to see if this horse is like Ben Johnson. It's going to run out of his hooves. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. A lot of stuff still to get to. Dogs, vegans, do not mix. I'm going to tell you why. Plus, Tim Tebow back in the NFL. People are asking, why isn't Colin Kaepernick back in the NFL? I'm going to tell you why I think they're doing this. I'm going to give you a take that nobody else is probably going to give you. That's what we do here, kids. That's what we do. Speaking of cool things and takes and, well, Masterclass. You guys know what Masterclass is, right? Masterclass is amazing. So I'm on my Masterclass right now. So I go to my Masterclass, log in, and I can watch anything I want when it comes to the masters of their crafts. From David Axelrod, Karl Rove, when it comes to politics, to Phil Ivey, the great poker player, and his journey and how he gets there, to Chris Voss, former FBI hostage negotiator, talking about that, to everything in between. You want to be an author? You want to learn from the likes of Salman Rushdie and James Patterson, right? Do you want to learn from Neil Gaiman, award-winning author? Or maybe you'd like to learn about interior design or just want to absolutely grow your mind. They've got yoga now. I'm going to try to do some yoga. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to try to do some yoga because I think it's good for me in my golf. But these are the masters. We're not talking about people that are teachers and have never done it. They've never taught. They've only ever done it. And that's what makes this thing so much different than anything else. Whether you're looking to take your potential hobby to another level or you're looking to just, expand your interest in a lot of different things, this is the best. It's about 41 cents a day for an annual membership. You do the math. You go to masterclass.com/Benson. Along with this, you're going to get downloadable materials. Each session is about 10 minutes, and there's about 20 lessons per class. It is invaluable. It is amazing. Learn from the best in the world. Learn from the absolute masters. Masterclass.com/Benson. Masterclass.com/Benson. Join now. You won't be disappointed. Chad Benson Show.
To be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks.
Don't be a cutie pie.
Probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
You're ruining my life, bud!
Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
When Tom Cruise won a Golden Globe for lead actor for Born on the 4th of July,
I'd like to thank the Foreign Press.
The Hollywood Foreign Press Association was his first thank you. Now, he's rejecting the group that puts on the Golden Globes, returning his 3 awards, which he also won for Jerry Maguire and Magnolia. The move comes as NBC announced it wouldn't air next year's Golden Globes, and Scarlett Johansson, Netflix, Warner Media, and others promised to boycott the organization's press days. All this over allegations of racism and sexism within the HFPA.
So, they're making changes. The Hollywood Foreign Press is doing what? Yeah, they're making changes. So the Golden Globes, which has always been the more casual of the awards, and it's one of those ones where you could, for all intents and purposes, kind of buy your Golden Globe, really push for it. So what is it? It's a nonprofit organization of journalists and photographers who report on the entertainment industry activity and interest in the United States for media predominantly outside the United States of America. There's not enough diversity there. That's their big thing. So in 2018, Brendan Fraser claimed that former President Phil Burke groped him, right? Then there was more stuff around some of these things. On top of that, the Hollywood Foreign Press paid a lot of its members in excess of $1 million, which people were freaking out about. Lack of black representation. So now everybody's like, well, we need all of these things. So they came out today. NBC said, we're not going to do, oh my goodness. And first of all, the most famous thing that has come from the Hollywood Foreign Press for the Golden Globes in the last several years has been Ricky Gervais going on there and just destroying those people. And everybody watches it because it's a great way for us to all laugh and see they're getting essentially cut off at the knees. So now they're going to change everything. They said today, the top priority is implementing transformation and transformative change as quickly and as thoughtfully as possible. The organization says they're starting the changes this week by beginning the process of adding 20 new members. And they're planning to hire a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. Chad, that's not very nice. It's not very nice. But come on, it was kind of funny, right? It's kind of funny. And why this makes me laugh is this is essentially they're fighting each other because, you can never be woke enough. This is about your awards. That's really what this is about. This is about your awards. Dave Chappelle was on with Joe Rogan the other day, and they were talking about being woke.
Like, I saw an article that said Elon Musk donated $150 million to some charity, and they called him a cheapskate.
It's hilarious.
How hilarious is that? It was such a shitty article. It's just a poorly written knucklehead article.
It's again, like you say, no one can be woke enough.
Nobody can be woke enough. Nobody can. So they're going to make changes here. Does that, really? It's like, that is hilarious. So the rich and powerful are mad at the other rich and powerful who give them awards because they're not diverse enough. So now they're going to make everything diverse to the point where it used to be about like, hey, is this a good product or is it a bad product? Let me ask you a question. If you said the same thing about your vehicle, hey, I don't think enough black people or trans people worked on my vehicle. Is that what we're going to do to every product now? There's not enough LGBTQ representation in the making of this vehicle. Oh, man. Oh, enjoy it, kids. Enjoy it. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Pfizer says its COVID-19 vaccine is safe for 12 to 15-year-olds. The FDA agrees, extending the company's emergency use authorization to adolescents. Acting Commissioner Dr. Janet Woodcock.
This is a big step for our country. Vaccinating a younger population brings us closer to returning to a sense of normalcy and to ending the pandemic.
The CDC is expected to sign off on the EUA with vaccines available for 12 to 15-year-olds in a matter of days.
A matter of days! A matter of days! You're going to have a chance to get your kid vaccinated if you choose to do so. There are people out there, a little hesitant, totally understandable.
I expect that the same kind of thing we're seeing now, where as people have friends and family members they know who've gotten vaccinated, the interest in vaccination goes up. I think the same will happen with parents as they see other kids, the children of other parents getting vaccinated. They're going to want to do it too.
Yeah, I think that'll happen. I think over time, people want to make sure that this thing isn't causing any issues, right? Totally, I get that. My son's 10, going to be 11 in, man. He's going to be 11 a month from Thursday. Crazy. Time's flown by. Would I get him the vaccine right now? Nah. And not because I don't think the vaccine works. I just don't think at this point in time that he needs it. I think we have over-medicated our kids. I think we've gotten to the point where we have made it so we dip them Purell and we give them antibiotics anytime they have a scrape on the knee. And I think that, your immune system, sometimes like everything else, it's muscle. You need to let it work itself out. So I wouldn't at this point in time. Now, his mom and I, we've talked about it briefly. And he would be a candidate where if he was 12, we would have, we're not in that situation. But doesn't mean that's not going to happen sooner rather than later. Because if you think they're stopping here, kids, well, wrong.
I fully expect, given what we know about the vaccine in adults and now adolescents, that in the coming months, the vaccine will be approved for these young children, despite knowing that children who are between 2 and 12 do have different bodies that are developing at different rates.
And that's exactly it. I think at a certain age, your body is developing at a different rate. I go back to the football thing. You're 15, you're 16, you're 17, you want to play tackle football. You've kind of got through a lot of that adolescence. Your body's, it's still growing, but you've gotten through a lot of those, little check marks we'd be looking for. So, I'm more apt to say if you want to play tackle football when you're, a sophomore or junior, senior in high school, which is one of the things I've talked about in the past. I think, juniors and seniors should be allowed to play. I think maybe you have no tackle football until then. Looking at it from trying to preserve tackle football. Oh, it's because you don't like tackle football. No, it's trying to preserve it. It's trying to give it longevity in a different way. So I do think we over-medicate our kids. So I posed a question to you guys out there. And you can take it. It's on Twitter. So will you get your kid vaccinated for COVID? 38% say, yes, I will. 45% say, no, I will not. And 17% say, I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to have a wait and see attitude. And I think a lot of people are going to be that way. And that is understandable, right? That is understandable. Because I think a lot of people as adults are that way. So you've got that 20% of people who refuse to get the vaccine. That's what it is. That's not changing. It's not going to change anytime soon. That number's been pretty steady. But you have that undecided. I call them vaccine agnostics. They believe vaccines work. They know vaccines work. They're not quite sure about this vaccine at this moment in time. But I think over time, that's going to change. And you'll see some people get vaccinated. I think it's the same thing for the kids. But I think when you look at the data, 0 to 9, very little spread. Even amongst their peers. It's weird to think that a 2-year-old has peers. And at the same time, very little transmission between adults and kids that age. So is there really a rush to do this? We don't get everybody vaccinated for flu, and flu is far more dangerous for children. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Unemployment. We have 8.1 million jobs. I'm going to say that again. 8.1 million jobs. A record number of jobs are available. Why aren't people wanting to work? Skylar Reeves, business owner. Prescott, Arizona, 5 restaurants. This is what he says.
Skylar Reeves owns 5 restaurants throughout Prescott, Arizona. Why? Why are you having such a hard time finding workers for your restaurants?
There's 2 main reasons. The number one reason is the enhanced unemployment benefits. So I've had several people come to me and basically say, look, when I can't get unemployment anymore, we'll come back.
Okay, automatically I'm writing do not hire ever. Do not hire ever. He right now is essentially saying, look, come work for me. I'll pay for your junior college. Right? So after you get to a point where you're a full-time employee, 32 hours a week, where you're benefit eligible after those 90 days, I'm going to pay for your junior college, which is a little bit more expensive than I used to know, right? And it's funny because I'm hearing from small business owners, medium-sized business owners, this is an issue. But if you bring it up, you're no, it's not.
There's this notion that people don't want to work. I have not met any of those people who don't want to work. I have met a lot of people who are staying off from work because they cannot find child care for their children. And you got the Republican Party not wanting to make that a part of infrastructure that is a critical part of infrastructure.
So, look, I've talked about child care. I've talked about early development. I'm a big fan of that to a certain extent. I got zero problems. But there are people out there who don't want to work. This is what we're not talking about, a 32-year-old single mom with 2 kids. A lot of people that are applying for a lot of these jobs are in that age range where you'd think you'd want to work, right? You want to work. I've never met anybody who doesn't want to work. Have you met people that reluctantly work because they have to, but they don't really work at the job they want? You probably met a lot of those people. All of us have been that person at one time or another. The other side of this is the fear, right? Because it's a perfect time to be afraid. It's a perfect time to say, I'm scared.
The number one reason now that people aren't going back to work, fear, or they can't find child care or schools are still closed.
So those are the perfect 3 things right there. Fear, child care, or the schools are closed. Well, schools are going to be closed very soon anyways, right? Because summertime. My son's got less than a month left of school. So, and he's been in school, albeit in a very bizarre way where his teachers aren't there, but he's there. So that's that. But for a lot of people, it's not that. They're in a position where they really don't have to work. They're not worried. They're not going to get kicked out of their homes. They don't have to worry about making rent. Things are okay. I mean, California, Newsom's like, hey, guess what? I'm going to send out more checks. I may double or triple what you're getting right now. What's the incentive to work then? So wait a minute. You're going to pay me how much to stay home? I'm just curious. How much money are you going to give me to stay home? Because at some point, you're like, that sounds good to me. Not me. But for a lot of people, it's a business decision at some point. And for some of these kids, it is a business decision. From these young adults, it is. For some of even these older people, it is. Because you've got child care is a very real thing. Let's not. But what did you do before this, right? Did you have a child before this? Yeah. Well, what did you do then? Did you work? Yeah. Did you have to pay for child care? Yeah. So what's different now? Well, now I'm getting enough money that without paying for child care, then I'm making more money. Oh, okay.
It's a tough job. These are entry-level jobs. And so when you kind of feel like we're competing with that unemployment rate a little bit. So I think that's the number one cause in my experience. We've also had talks with employees saying, look, I want to come back to work, but can you guarantee me that I'm going to make more than I would on unemployment? For a tipped person, you can't necessarily guarantee what kind of tips they are. You can make a good guess.
People want guarantees. Can you guarantee me I'm going to get this, that, and the other? So they're having to be, again, creative. There's a business owner, Prescott, 5 restaurants. He wants, people to come work for him. He can't hire enough. We have 8.1 million jobs that are available. 8.1 million jobs that are available. I'm going to go over this again. 8.1. Right now, there's buyer markets and seller markets, right? If you're a seller, meaning you're a business owner, and it's a seller's market, you want to work for me? Why should I hire you? Right? What am I getting out of it? Oh, I'm getting you? Yeah, but what else? You're going to go above and beyond. You're going to do these things. Buyer's market. Yeah, I'll come work for you, but I want this, this, and this. Well, that's what people are competing with now. Some people are able to make some sort of demands that they're trying to compete with one another. Now they're competing with the government.
We'll attract some ambitious people. We want to reinvest into our workers. The wages are going up already. I want to, if someone comes and work for us for 2 years while they go to college and they walk away from the company with a college degree or moving on to a 4-year university. I'm in this business to make money, but I'm also in this business to affect people in a positive way, not just our guests, but our employees as well. Give the person an extra few dollars. I think the incentives needs to be more.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to do. Places like Silicon Valley, their battle is always to get the best. You're going to have to offer them things above and beyond, right? Like Fridays off, or every other Friday's off, or, hey, you know what? Half-day Fridays, work from home Wednesdays, or we've got a full gym and you get a massage once a week. You can, we're going to pay for all of everybody's looking to compete now for entry-level jobs, even mid-level jobs. You're competing with the government. Can you pay me more? Because I got to hang out at the house all day and I'm getting paid. Can you do that? And for some people, the fear factor is real, but that's a very small amount. For some people, childcare is an issue, but it was an issue before this. So that's not why. There's a lot of things that go into this. But don't tell me it's not because unemployment benefits being enhanced hasn't hurt the job market. You watch what happens today if you said, you know what, we're cutting unemployment benefits right now. Watch how many people go back to work. Even Biden kind of addressed this.
We're going to make it clear that anyone collecting unemployment who is offered a suitable job must take the job or lose their unemployment benefits.
The problem is who is going to enforce it? So if you get a job offer and you turn it down, in theory, the job offering company is supposed to contact unemployment and said they turned this job down, and then they're supposed to ask why and supposedly enforce it. I don't know if that's going to happen. I doubt it will. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Your Twitter. MyPillow has all kinds of goodies. Great stuff. Right now they got their pillows, of course. They've got their slippers, which I love. They've also got their towels. Love their towels. Different colors. Different sizes. So you get the giant towel, right? The good one, the fluffy one, but it's amazing. Super absorbent, not lotiony. You get the middle of the hand, and then you get the wash. Normally it's $110, right? So you get this package of towels, and you're like, oh, it's a good price, even at that. $44.98 right now. 60-day money-back guarantee. Big warranty. What are you waiting for? If you're saying to yourself, we could use some new towels. You want different colors. You want something that's not lotiony, super absorbent, and a feel that is second to none. It's this. But there's deep discounts on all MyPillow products. Right now, go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson and save big. Again, deep discounts across all their lines, from their mattress toppers to their pillows to their Giza Dream Sheets to the towels, and yes, to those awesome slippers. And I've got some here because I'm going to go play golf a little bit later, and I put them on right before I go play because when I'm done, sometimes my feet are a little sore, and I love walking around in them. Get yours now. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
Don't panic.
A handful of gas stations in North Carolina claim they've run out of fuel just days after the Colonial Pipeline's ransomware attack.
I usually put in like half a tank, but I'm going to go ahead and put in a full tank, and we got our other car up here too. We're going to fill that up too.
That driver tried to stockpile her gasoline. AAA spokesperson Jana Tidwell says be prepared, prices will go higher.
Anywhere from 3 to 6 cents likely to happen this week, but these are temporary increases.
As long as the shutdown lasts.
Yeah. So you had a cyber crime that was committed by a group with ties to that guy called the Pooter.
The FBI is now officially identifying the hackers based in Russia known as DarkSide as a gang who developed a so-called ransomware using the attack on the pipeline in a scheme to extort money. While U.S. intelligence has yet to develop evidence to tie the Kremlin to the attack, some security experts emphasize the Russian government has a pattern of allowing and sometimes helping such groups when they try to hurt Western companies and nations.
Yeah. So they've taken it over. Their whole thing is like, we don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to do anything bad. We just want money. So just give us some money and we'll go away. So you're going to see a spike. But what you're also going to see is people panic. Because people read a headline. possibility of shortage of gas. They won't see the word possibility. What they'll see is shortage, and then they'll panic. And that's what you're getting. Places already overnight are having serious issues. And this is on top of the fact that we already have some issues with gas in this country because we don't have enough drivers.
A lot of stations are running out of gas, not by much, a few hours here and there.
Fueling up in 2021 costs about 77 cents more per gallon than it did last year.
All of these people were shut down in their homes. They want to get out.
Get this, some stations around the country have already had brief periods where they run out of gas for a few hours. And the reason is simple.
There's no shortage of gas. It's just that during the pandemic, there was a shortage of drivers.
Yeah, you have to have special license and things of that nature. We just don't have that. You're going to pay a little bit more. Now you add this on, there's going to be some pressure. Just don't panic. Just don't panic. These guys, yeah, you know what? This is going to be the world we live in now. It's all going to be baked into the prices we pay, which is there's going to be people who do dumb things and take advantage. Sucks, but that's the reality.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Are you worried about people dropping their guard too soon when it comes to wearing masks?
No, I think it is the right thing to do because this has been the problem all along. The American people have not really had a roadmap to follow. They keep hearing these kind of one-off guidelines from the CDC that are not contextualized in a larger framework and a roadmap of where we're actually heading to as a country. And so it confuses people, and this is why you see a number of physicians and others criticizing the CDC because they don't understand why the CDC is being so conservative.
I don't understand it either. I mean, conservative, I guess. I mean, we're under 40,000 cases a day in a population of, 350 million people. It's probably 370 when you count everybody. At some point, you're just like, all right, it's time to get back to living. And the CDC's been all over the place. And I think part of it is we have, first of all, we as a nation are skeptical. Look what's going on right now still. There's a group of people in this country who believe that the last election was stolen. They are doing some sort of bizarre election audit here in Maricopa County with 2.1 million elections. They've been all over the place. They hired the Cyber Ninjas, who were some company out of Florida, right? And the guy that also pushed a lot of this stuff, you had a Texas guy who pushed a lot of this craziness, the skepticism of how could Trump, look at all the people at his rally. And then, leading the charge here for part of the time has been a guy who was like a treasure hunter. He's on the Curse of Oak Island, and he's come up with all of these things, and that there was somehow magically 40,000 ballots from South Korea brought in here, and it's some of this stuff is just we have a healthy dose of skepticism, which is not bad. I always tell everyone I'm an open-minded skeptic, right? Which I think is good. I'm open-minded enough that if I see some information, I will take the data and the facts as the reality. I'm skeptical enough to know that you don't buy into everything, but if you aren't willing to reconfigure and reshape your viewpoints based on reality, well, that's insane. Right now, we have this, as these numbers continue to drop, as hospitalizations continue to drop, as all of this stuff continues to happen, we're still in a position where we're ceding so much power, some of these states, to these bureaucrats and scientists who have, quite frankly, you're at the point now where it's like even when there is somebody who disagrees with them, who is also a scientist, that's the funny thing. So you're a scientist, you're a scientist. You're a doctor, you're a doctor. Well, this scientist and this doctor over here, they have a dispute against you. Well, they're liars. And you're like, you just can't get anywhere. And the CDC has flip-flopped on how many occasions? I mean, they've called themselves out within hours. Dr. Rachel Walensky talking about the masking thing. Do you remember that? And boom, within hours, she had flip-flopped. At some point, the states need to start to take more control in this, but also the states and the politicians and the powers that be need to cede some of that control back to the people.
The message needs to be that as we fully vaccinate the American people by the summer, virus transmission is going to go way down. And that's why it becomes easier to have vaccinated individuals no longer wear masks, because the vaccines are not 100% protective. But as virus transmission goes down, then we open up and look like something as we did pre-pandemic, with the exception that international travel will still be treacherous because there's a lot of virus transmission.
Yeah. People are going to make travel plans based on places they also feel comfortable at this moment in time. Places they know, well, you know what? If I go to the Caribbean, I'm probably going to go there on a cruise, or even if I fly over there, I know I can get back here really quick. I'm going to go to Mexico and get back there really quick. I'm going to take a trip here in the United States. Instead, I'm going to go to the coast. Those kind of things. That's what you're going to see. Europe's probably off the map for a while. So, but it's going to be very interesting to see how politicians, bureaucrats, health officials who have been an important part of the last 15 months, who have gotten a shot in the arm of fame, if you will, little ego, juice in there, all of those things where their importance has grown tremendously because people are relying on them. Let's see what happens when they have to do what? Give back some of that power. Because when you give back some of that stuff, when you unwind some of that, it's a little bit of a sucker punch, right? A little gut punch, because people aren't turning to you 24/7. People aren't coming to you every day. People aren't asking you and hanging on the words that you say. And that's going to be interesting to see. And many people, I think it was The Atlantic who wrote an article last month, is the hardest thing that is going to come out of this is seeing if local government, state government, even federal side of the government will unwind the power that they have and how they do it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I do love her from every single one of you. Liz Cheney. What's going to happen to her, right? So, first of all, she is up for a vote because she just doesn't follow the narrative, right? She's not lockstep with the Trump Republicans.
It's a secret ballot. Republicans will not have to take a stand in public. And Cheney faced the same vote back in February. She survived it, then with the support of Republican leader Kevin McCarthy. But this time he has made it clear he wants her out, too.
Yeah, of course. They all want her out. They want her out. Why? Because she's a pain in the butt. She doesn't do what we ask her to do. We want her to do certain things.
The leader of the House Republicans officially urging them to vote Congresswoman Liz Cheney out of leadership. Kevin McCarthy writing, "It's clear that we need to make a change." McCarthy doesn't defend Cheney's right to speak out, instead calling her a distraction.
Yeah, of course not. Don't like her speaking out. How dare you have a mind of your own? How dare you do that? How dare you go and have a differing opinion? How dare you do that? And this is where the Republicans need to figure out what they want to be. Are they going to be a party that was once, you look at the conservative values that so many people held dear in that party. All of that stuff is gone. They are a shell of theirselves. They have ceded all the power over to Trump, and they're going to let Trump and his cronies do whatever they want to do. Hence the reason why we have this stupid thing going on here with this election fraud BS, or as they call it, the fraud. I am all for looking into things that you have real issues with. There's nothing wrong with that. I think we should. I think that there were some things that were done in this last election, and some people did some stuff that you have serious questions about. I think they should be looked into, and it's not going to be an overnight thing, which was half the problem, is Trump and his election was up against a deadline that was in our Constitution, and that was it. So go through and do your thing. The problem is when you hire right? When you say, hey, we're going to do this real operation here. There's an operation that needs to be done. This is serious stuff. And then you hire clowns. It's crazy. It is. It really is embarrassing. Liz Cheney's a perfect example of what's going on. She spoke out. She had an issue with Trump. And I got zero problems with that. Others have come out and talked about it. Some people are in better positions than others. Liz, they think, is vulnerable, and Trump is making it his goal, along with a lot of other people, that the people that he feels turned on him shall pay the price.
During a live chat with the National Press Club, GOP Representative Adam Kinzinger defended Representative Liz Cheney, saying the only reason she's being run out of her leadership post is because she refuses to lie about the truth. He's referring to Cheney's consistent message that the 2020 election was not stolen and that Donald Trump is responsible for the January 6th insurrection.
He's the one that keeps talking about the big lie, the stolen election. He's the one that isn't unifying. But of course, he's out of power. He's a loser, but he's the one that a lot of people fear.
Yeah. They fear. Why do you fear? Because you're allowing people that are on the Twitterverse world to come and try to destroy you. And you just let it go. You know, it's part of, like, we joke about the woke mob here and the insanity of it all, that you allow a little bit to control a lot of it. We have said it for years and we'll continue to say it here on our Dog and Pony Show. It's no longer, remember the old saying was the tail wags the dog. Now it's the flea that wags the tail that wags the dog. Well, they're going to replace her. They got somebody. Who's going to be their replacement? Elise Stefanik. Who is she? She's a Trump loyalist, right? So she's above board. She does everything that essentially Trump would do. Well, what matters most? Voting in the way that Trump would vote? During policies? Because if that's what it is, then you keep Liz Cheney. Because Liz Cheney was more in line with Trump based on her votes than this lady. Or is it about the optics of being out there talking about how great Yahweh is and how they'll do anything for him? That's the sad thing. Both of them have their issues right now. Both of them are dealing with a different kind of woke mob. They are. And while this is going on, both parties are struggling because they're out of touch. The Democrats are out of touch with the average Democrat who thinks woke mob is ridiculous, who thinks that this insanity of their crazy political correctness has lost the plot completely. And on the right, they're kowtowing to their woke mob, if you will, which is get in line and step two based on this, because otherwise people were going to come for you. So instead of coming for Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola and Delta, oh my God, we're moving the baseball game out of Atlanta and all this kind of stuff. It's the difference. The difference is instead of doing that, they'll say, well, you didn't do what we asked you to do and the way that we wanted you to do, so you need to kowtow to us, or else we're going to come after your appointments, your leadership position, and yeah, you know what? We may even try to primary you. Always remember, party, right? Politician, then the people. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. You love, you hate, whatever it is. I am always interested to have a conversation. Got a Twitter poll up. We'll touch on that. But first, let's talk about something that's D to delicious. Omaha Steaks. Let's go grill. That's their package that I've already eaten through. They sent it to me, and I devoured it. I think I have kielbasa left. That's it. So what's it come with, Chad? Well, first of all, let me tell you, you're going to get $20 off your first order, and they're going to throw in a little something, a $44 value. It's 12 5-ounce Omaha steak burgers, absolutely free. But on top of that, 4 butcher-cut filet. Devoured those the first night. Boneless pork chops, last night, delicious. Boneless chicken breast, those were gone over the weekend. Kielbasa sausage, I have some left, I'll have those. The scallop potatoes, and they throw in caramel apple tartlets, those are gone. It is incredible what they offer you. And the burgers, through the roof. I love, love, love the burgers. I'm a burger dude. But their fillets, the pork chops to me. And they also throw in a book and seasoning. So you can go through the book and it'll tell you how to prepare things. And I'll tell you what, I tried stuff I've never tried before. Delicious. Delicious. So if you're saying to yourself, summer's here, let's get grilling. Well, let's go grill right now. Let's do it with Omaha Steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com, omahasteaks.com. When you do, go and enter in the search bar, Chad. Right? That's the keyword. You're going to save big. Keyword is Chad in the search bar. Do it. Limited time. 12 free Omaha Steak burgers. That's a $44 value and $20 off your first order at checkout. All you have to do is go to omahasteaks.com. Use that keyword, Chad, to save big. Chad Benson Show.
Set Chad straight. Text the show, 323-538-2423. That's 323-538-CHAD. Someone has to do it. Might as well be you. The Chad Benson Show.
So he's back.
This was the only path, and it happens to be a path that came about in 2021. So here we are. Who would have thought that we'd be discussing Tim Tebow in the NFL over 3,000 days since he last played in an NFL game?
What? Yeah, it's a possibility that Tim Tebow may come back to the NFL. Well, where would he come back? Well, there's one place that is going to sign him. And remember, this guy hasn't played for almost a decade. People are asking questions about why isn't Colin Kaepernick in? Well, a few reasons why. First of all, I don't think Colin wants to play football. I don't. I think he enjoys being a social justice warrior, and he makes more money at it, and he likes being the victim, and he's turned it into a quite lucrative position. And when they've tried to give him opportunities, even though they did screw him over, those opportunities, he ended up playing games, and even people that supported him were like, I'm over this.
I don't know if Tim Tebow can play tight end in the year 2021, but I do know this. He has not played a snap in a regular season game since 2012. For point of reference, the number one song in America in 2012 was Godier, somebody that I used to know.
Somebody I used to know. Why would they do this? Well, it's the Jaguars. Oh, okay. Who coaches the Jaguars? Anybody? Anybody? Urban Meyer. Why would he sign him? A few reasons. First and foremost, he loves the guy. Having him around the team, help him win a couple national championships at Florida, the Heisman, the whole 9 yards. Secondly, they've got a stud that's coming in, the number one overall pick. That number one overall pick is Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is going to have a lot of stuff thrown at him. He's a different kind of kid, right? He's been the number one pick for 3 years. He has been, essentially. Everybody's known. He isn't. Trevor Lawrence is a devout Christian who was recently married. Having Tim Tebow there, even through parts of training camp, and even if he gets cut, don't be surprised if he doesn't get an opportunity to be on the staff or something like that. It is an opportunity for him to be mentored in a way that's going to make Trevor feel comfortable. And so much of this is a relationship world. What can I do to make this guy, who is all everything, who people have talked about for the last umpteen years as being not only the number one pick, now it's like, is this guy going to be, what size jacket do we have to get him from Canton? He hasn't even had a snap. Yeah, there's a reason behind this. And trust me, it's not just whether or not Tim Tebow can catch a football. Kid's an athlete. Dude's an athlete. But there's more to the madness. And you'll hear about, well, why is he in the NFL and Colin Kaepernick isn't? You think if I said, hey, Colin, would you like to play in the NFL? Yeah, but here's the deal. You got to be a punt returner and a wide receiver. Probably not. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. You guys have a blessed, wonderful day. We'll do it again tomorrow. It's Tuesday, so that means taco time, baby. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.